Hey, it's just so Trish, and I figured I'd talk to you about dealing with my postpartum anxiety. Bam! Oh my goodness, I know, yet another conversation on it. But for those of you who are suffering there with me, you know how it is. So, November was awesome. I essential oiled up. It was great. And I felt like I was back to normal. And the reality was, it felt so good to not be suppressed by the symptoms that I really was starting to believe that I was out of it. Even though I was like, oh, the symptoms are gone. So part of my issue with anxiety is leaving my house. Leaving my house sets my anxiety off. Because the whole preparing, do I have everything that everybody needs? Somebody thinks he should be a visitor. Do I have everything I need? Don't knock the screen over. It was just a bunch. And then we had a cold snap. And I know this sounds weenie, but it was like 60, 70 degrees. Which to all y'all would be like, oh, that's so nice. It made me realize what I didn't have. And so it was rough. It was rough for me. And it was crazy. So, I had, this whole, days before leaving. We were supposed to go on another vacation. In September, go on a trip. And I totally flaked out last minute. I'm like, I can't do this. And so I thought I was good to go. I mean, it's November. I should be fine. I was flaking out. And the crazy part. So, I'm going to tell you everything that set my anxiety off. But before I do that, I just want to tell you. I had a fantastic time. I had a great time. But at the same time, I was having these crazy anxiety waves. And it was just let's go home. And yeah, I was melting down. The day after I got home, I was just one big meltdown. And it's crazy because I know the stress, number one, is so not healthy for my body. And at the same time, I know... I don't know. So what made my trip great was we did not rush. It was a 10-hour drive and we took 12 to 13 hours and we stopped often and it was well. Parts, I know, it's trying to, so it was crazy. So the good part is having the experience and dealing with anxiety. Even though I was having a good time, I was identifying my triggers, and not necessarily that my triggers were bad things, it's just my triggers. Being in a small space we were in a smaller space than our actual house. It was a trigger. Not getting a good night's sleep was a trigger. Not eating enough, trigger. Because we were in the woods, in the awesome woods with my family, and didn't have the right food, enough food, free range food like I'm used to, and not going too long between eating, which I'm bad about doing anyways, but now there wasn't really an option. There just wasn't anything there. Not that there wasn't anything there, but I don't want to eat Swiss cakes and cookies and things like that. I wasn't eating enough, so that would send me off. And then the baby just got all flipped around, and she just kept me up all night long nursing. So I'd go to bed at 10. And then I'd wake up every 2 hours. And then by 5:30, I couldn't go back to sleep. So that really kind of did me in. The other part, too, was it was a time zone over, but it's right on the... So where we'd get dark at 6, they got dark at 5. Okay, you want to send me off the charts in my whole, internal calendar, make it dark, because I am fair weathered, and I've always been, so I need light, and if there's not enough light, it's not good. So because of that, I just would really shut down and really kind of flip out. Not really flip out, but my whole, it's 6:30 at night and I'm thinking it's 10, and I have a hard time already to have a concept of time. Pitch black, no concept of time. So I kind of really flipped my loopy-loop a little bit. That didn't help. Then I had a couple other episodes of realizing the lack of what I live with, the lack of, and I'm not crying poor mouth or anything like that, but just realizing how I'm not taking care of myself and not having clothes that fit. That was a whole nother episode. And realizing I had a lot more wants than I really like to acknowledge. I'll have a whole video about that, but that right there set off some triggers too. So it just, I had like a great time, and yet my anxiety was off the charts. And so it was really kind of hard handling that. And I think if I didn't have the experience with anxiety, I would have projected that on people. Like, you are making me crazy, and you, but nobody was making me crazy. I'm just crazy. No, I'm not crazy. I'm just, it's my anxiety kicking. It's just little things kicking it on. So with that, it's just kind of like, okay, fine. So I realized real quick, and then the allergy change. Oh, and then I'm cold. Don't get me in the dark cold. Don't feed me. I'm crazy. I become a crazy lunatic. Almost. But like, I had a great time. Like, I got to sit by the fire with my siblings and just love it. Reminisce old times. Enjoy my children loving their family that they don't ever get to see. Seeing my nephew act like a man. That was just, or being a man, practice being a man, because he's a man now. It was just awesome. And yet, I was like, we have to go. It felt horrible because I'm like, we gotta go. We gotta go tomorrow morning. I gotta go home. And so it was hard because it's like, I really wanted to enjoy longer. And yet, my body was like, go home now before you embarrass yourself. So, we went home. It was what I had to do. And so it was hard because you run into, I have wonderful family members that also have anxiety, which means I have great family members that understand anxiety, and I'm just like, I haven't been fighting an anxiety attack all day. I'm sorry, and I don't want to embarrass myself. I'm going to go to bed now. Only to be like, I can't go to bed. And then, like, for some reason, it's been crazy full moon. So on top of that, like, the way the windows are set up in the bedroom and where I slept, the moon would just shine its light into my eyes for like from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. So all my kids were up at 6 in the morning. One woke up, they all woke up. It was just... So, I came home to realize my anxiety is still full force. Thank you, oils, for calming it. And I need to get more oils, like the tension blend. And just to kind of keep symptoms at bay, keep me calm. I'm also realizing what isn't helping is I think I might have some blood sugar issues, which I don't know if the blood sugars are kicking in the anxiety or amping the anxiety up, but something's going on there. And fight or flight, on my fight or flight balance has been fight, which has been different because for the longest time it's been fly, 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 fly. And this last week, my fight or flight has been fight. My fight has been turned on, and I hide, of course, because I feel like I got Tourette's, and I feel like I'm Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and I'm hiding so I don't upset anybody or embarrass anybody. And my poor husband's the only one I let see it. Actually, I've let my mom have a view of it a time or two too. And I mean, I just become completely belligerent, and I hate it. I really hate it. And I know it's a genetic thing. My dad used to do it too. Go hide and be belligerent by yourself. So, true testimony of a postpartum anxiety woman with 6 kids. It was just, it was one of those that was hard. So, why am I even telling you all of this? Because I know, mamas, there's somebody out there, might be you, that is going through this and doesn't know to put the name and the title on it. Like, that's postpartum anxiety. That's not being me being a horrible person. That is my body going through a phase that it cannot regulate itself, and that's what it is. And when you're on top of the fact that my body is a major vitamin D needer and has to have sunlight and can't handle cold very well, this is what happens. And this is what happens with postpartum when you mix it all together. And it's like, we just got done with the holidays and we still have like more holidays to go forth. And if you're like me and you're going through what I'm going through, you know, it's kind of like, oh crud, they either one are going to think I'm crazy, two, they're going to think I'm the meanest, nastiest person possible, three, I might actually think they're at fault for the way I feel, four, I don't know what four is. That's all I can come up with off the top of my head. But seriously, it can really feel like you can destroy relationships. Seeing as how I've gone through postpartum depression now 6 times, or anxiety, I've had to do some obvious relationship repairing after my children. Now, because I've piled my children so close together, I didn't like connect the dots that it was postpartum. And so now I kind of go back through. I'm like, well, that was postpartum. Sorry, I didn't realize it was. And I've told you before, I mean, you want to talk about repairing a relationship? How about hanging up the phone and not talking to a single family member for 10 months? I think I talked to 3. I mean, 3 times I talked to somebody related to me. And talk about a crushing situation like with my mother. It really was crushing, and it was really hard, and became a prancy dance around the situation once I kind of came back to. And so now I'm just kind of like, you know, now she realizes, and I realize it was postpartum. It wasn't her. I mean, she was just being her. I was being me, and my postpartum wasn't like making a happy place for that. And so we have talked a little bit. You know, it is my postpartum, and my postpartum is getting worse each time. So this is kind of the worst I've had it, except I haven't blatantly closed anybody out. So that's good. And knowing what I know now compared to then, I realize when everything's going crazy, it's not the person I'm dealing with's fault. It's not because there's somebody I need to close out. It's because it's, and at the same time, it's not me. It is me, but it's not me. It's just my body. My body's just not behaving. So it sounds funny. I had to come home. My anxiety was off the charts. I couldn't handle it. And at the same time, I had a great time. So that kind of feels like apples and oranges to go together, but sometimes that's what it is. And you know what? I think it's okay if it's apples and oranges at times, because sometimes we're kind of pushed into a box. The world pushes us into this idea that if you're having anxiety attacks, you can't be having a great time. And I don't agree. I have anxiety attacks, and sometimes it's while I'm having a great time. And I'm just like, I don't know, I look like a detoxer. I'm like, and like I'm kind of being thrown with the wind. But I mean, I'm so thankful I went. I'm so thankful I did the things I did. And now I just have to calm back down. I'm not functioning very well. I wish I was. But you know, I've been... Somebody's distracting me. There you go. Food, of course. But, I lost my train of thought because I have to open up. See? More. But, I don't know. It's just the way it is. I'm hoping it'll be done soon. I will say, I still think nursing is linked to it. Because, like, she's finally... Oh, my goodness. The one good thing is, on our trip, I made it a priority for her to just... Food, any kind of food. Let's just get you some food. Start tasting, because, I mean, I know that they can go quite a while, but I'm like, I'm 100% your food. Mama needs a break. And it is turning my little, like, go. You know, that kind of sense of, like, And don't take it the wrong way if you've never dealt with anxiety and you're looking at me going, and why do you have these babies if that's your attitude? Well, it's not my attitude, but there are times that Mama is touched out. Mama is touched out after a long day. You got anxiety as it is. It's postpartum. You kind of don't want to touch anymore. And then you got a child who says, well, I might be 9 months, but I don't really want things to pass my lip except a ninny. But thankfully, sweet potato pie, no, it's sweet potato casserole, worked like a charm. Sister found out she likes to eat. So now we're learning to eat and eating little things. So it's starting the weaning process. And my goal was to wean out by the first of the year. It should be 10 months. But I got a feeling she's going to drag it out for 12 months. She's a stinker. So, there you go. Dealing with postpartum anxiety over the holidays on a holiday trip. And it's okay. It's okay. It's not you. It's just the fact of it's like a monkey wrench in your wheel. It's like having a flat tire. I mean, don't let it ruin your day. Do the best you can. Chin up. And just make it through. And just be honest with people. Because, I mean, they thought I was like flipping out or like being a monster. And I finally was like, I've been dealing with anxiety all day and I've been trying to get it to calm down. I'm sorry, I'm not acting normal for me, but I'm just dealing with that today. And it became, oh, that's what you're doing. Okay, no problem. You know, are you fine? And that was a huge help. So, I mean, if you're around family that's going to tear you apart, why visit them? Thankfully, I wasn't. And, because some families do that. But just be open and honest, I really think. You don't have to get into the whole details, but, you know, if you start losing kind of control and you're supposed to be in a social setting, just be like, my anxiety's kicking in. I kind of need to stand in a corner, go in another room, walk away. Because, I mean, the great thing about anxiety, you got fight or flight. Flight's not so bad, but you don't want to embarrass yourself with fight. Or I have to go apologize for what you say during flight, because we do, well, I don't know about we, but I can get a bit belligerent. So anyways, that's how it is. I thought I would share it with you, because there are some mamas out there dealing with it. Hugs. That's my YouTube hug. Hug. Because I totally get it. Living it. Lived it for like the last 11 years. Living it. So, let me know if this resonates with you. If you think I'm a flip-flop, well, don't leave a message. I don't care. Because you just don't get it. Don't project your perfection on me. Anyways, I will talk to you later. Peace out.